Reducing adverb clauses. Reducing an adverb clause means shortening it to a phrase. So to reduce an adverb clause of time, we need a time word and a present participle. That's the ing form of the verb. Look at this example. After falling asleep, I began to have strange dreams. The present participle has an active meaning, so it's understood that the subject is doing the action. We can only form a phrase from an adverb clause if the subjects of the two clauses are the same. Who fell asleep? I did. Who began to have strange dreams? I did. So the subjects are the same. That's why we can use this phrase. Look at this new sentence. Can the adverb clause be reduced to a phrase? No, the subjects are different. Here's how you make an adverb clause a phrase. First, remove the subject in the adverb clause. And make any necessary changes to the subject in the main clause so the sentence makes sense. Second, remove any helping verbs in the adverb clause. 3. Focus on the main verb. Use the present participle, and remember, with that present participle you're expressing an active meaning. And our last step, keep the time word if it's necessary. We don't always use a time word when we shorten an adverb clause of time. While is often omitted because it's understood. Hopefully you understand how I wrote this sentence in the story. Sleeping soundly in their beds, two children dreamed of dragons, fast scooters, and other thrills. Let me point out that the full adverb clause could be written a different way. After while, there could be a progressive verb. While two children were sleeping soundly in their beds. That makes sense too. Again, the process would be the same. We remove any helping verb, in this case a form of be, and our main verb is already a present participle. So this makes our job easier. When we change adverb clauses with progressive verbs, just take out the form of be and keep the present participle. I mentioned that we often omit while when we create these phrases. We sometimes omit when, too. I did this in the story. Look at this example. Realizing what had just happened, they began to laugh. When is understood, so I left it out. My story isn't very formal, but in more formal English, I could have written upon realizing what had just happened. Upon is a time word that has the meaning of when.
Let's talk for a moment about word order. These phrases that act like adverbs are usually in an initial position at the beginning of a sentence, but they can also be in a final position. Let's look at some examples.
Here are 2 lines from the story. Seeing the umbrella right over his head, the husband jumped and raised his arms. Realizing what had just happened, they began to laugh. In both sentences, the phrase comes before the main clause. Commas are generally used for separation. Now compare those examples to these. I have 2 more lines from the story. As usual, she had read a couple chapters from a novel before going to sleep. She took a few steps toward the family room, grabbing a long umbrella on her way. In these 2 sentences, the phrase comes after the main clause. Commas aren't always used for separation in this case. In the first sentence, I chose not to use a comma. The phrase is quite short. In the second, we have a longer phrase. Most writers would use a comma here. It helps the reader to separate the 2 ideas.
I'd like you to try a very short exercise to test your understanding.
Change the phrases back into full adverb clauses. I'll give you 3 sentences. 1. As usual, she had read a couple chapters from a novel before going to sleep. The full adverb clause is before she went to sleep. 2. Seeing the umbrella right over his head, the husband jumped and raised his arms. The full adverb clause would be when the husband saw the umbrella right over his head. Then we'd change the subject in the main clause to a pronoun, he. 3. After falling asleep a second time, the husband and wife enjoyed having no more interruptions. The full adverb clause would be after the husband and wife fell asleep a second time, they enjoyed having no more interruptions. Note how we change the subjects.